I'm now delighted to introduce to you our final community voice, Gregory Youtz, Vice President of the Chinese Reconciliation Project Foundation.
Well, that speech clearly did not need anything to follow it. But I was asked to speak, and I will deliver some brief remarks. I'm Gregory Youtz, the Vice President of the Chinese Reconciliation Project Foundation here in Tacoma. And the Martin Luther King quote, which I was asked to respond to, fits with that word reconciliation in our middle name. The journey toward reconciliation and unity may seem long and uncertain, but faith gives us the courage to take the first step. Even when we cannot see the full path ahead, our belief in justice and love empowers us to move forward with hope and conviction. Because I am representing the Chinese Reconciliation Project Foundation, I have chosen to respond to this quote from Dr. King that contains the word reconciliation. It's made up of the Latin root words re and conciliare, meaning again, and to make good, to repair. The word is used to describe the act of repairing broken relationships, such as between former friends or warring factions. Both in the 1950s and 60s and today, one could be justified in asking whether there is anything to repair between oppressors and those they oppress, or whether in fact it is more like a ceasefire that is called for. It was a supreme act of generosity on Dr. King's part to utilize the word reconciliation and to adopt Gandhi's nonviolent approach to confronting racism and demanding civil rights. Militancy had seemed to many to be at least as rational and justifiable a strategy, and indeed the conversation goes on today about whether his nonviolence achieved enough. But the cities were already burning, as my childhood memories remind me, and to maintain his pacifism amid such turmoil and debate was nothing short of saintly. I do not use the term casually or lightly. His actions and his choices remain challenges to us even today, and his faith and his vision remain our guiding light. The Chinese Reconciliation Project Foundation, of which I am the VP, was formed in the mid-1990s to consider how to reconcile the modern city and people of Tacoma with the dark, racist events of its past, initially focused on the expulsion of the Chinese in 1885. It was founded and named at the same time as the South African Truth and Reconciliation Commission, led by President Nelson Mandela and Archbishop Desmond Tutu. The latter's concept of Ubuntu translates as a spiritual awareness of our interconnectedness as a human family, and the idea that together we make one another human. While it might seem that reconciliation is an inappropriate word for our dream, as King put it, nonetheless, he insisted that it was not just equal rights that we needed, but the coming together of our society. It is as a human family that we must reconcile, must learn to see each other as family, and to understand and act upon our interconnectedness with each other as humans, and now, in this era of impending climate crisis, interconnectedness with all of our fellow species on this one planet that we call home. Not a day goes by that I do not fantasize about militantly just snapping my fingers and changing the world, and to heck with all these politics. But I also remember that August day in 1963 when I listened with my family on a black and white TV to the most mesmerizing human voice I had ever heard, speaking to 1 million people about a dream. And I remember in that moment feeling as a kid that by coming together, by reconciling, we could change the world. In closing, there is a bridge in the Chinese Reconciliation Park down on our waterfront. It represents the path that we must take between learning about injustice and deciding to act upon that knowledge. It is a physical metaphor for what we must do if we choose to follow Dr. King's vision and seek to reconcile, to see each other and treat each other as family. Thank you.